Hey, you guys. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to day 2 of our Surpass Your Salary series. I hope you all are well. Let me just get everything ready and going. I had some technical difficulties yesterday, so I want to make sure we are all smooth today. And if you guys are tuning in, I'd love to hear where you are tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear where you're watching it from. And then we will go ahead and get going. Alrighty, I think we are good. Yesterday I feel like I talked for a while before anyone could hear me, so I'm a bit paranoid. I don't want that to happen again, but I think you guys can hear me fine now. Alrighty, I'm just gonna get going. Okay, I think you guys can hear me. Alrighty, so hi everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our Surpass Your Salary series. I am Leah and I am here. Oh, thanks Dana, thanks so much. Awesome. All right, so I am here to talk to you about day 2 of bringing up your side hustle to an income that is more than your 9-to-5 job while you are still at your 9-to-5 job. This is something I did for myself before I made the leap to full-time entrepreneurship, and something that served me very well when I made that leap. And it's also a balance that I was able to strike for several months beforehand, which really helped me have a double income. So I'm very passionate about this topic and I'm excited to share it with you. Now, this is day 2 of 4 of this series. So if you have not watched day 1 yet, then it's still on my Facebook page for now. It won't be up for much longer. So I would go ahead and recommend watching that. And if you do want all the replays of this series, then you can sign up for the series in the link I'm about to drop in the comments below. And that's the only way you'll actually get replays. Other than that, they're only going to be available to those who actually are signed up. Sorry, you guys, for the sirens. It is dumping here in New York. It's snowing. It's so cozy, so I'm excited to be here. I'm not sure how it is where you are. Alrighty, so today we're talking about the nuts and bolts of how to actually make the money that you need in order to surpass your day job income. So yesterday we got really clear about what that actually is and how much you need to have. And for those of you that were here yesterday, if you have a number and you want to drop in the comments, I'd love to hear it. But it was about really getting clarity about why your number is what it is and why that income goal is what it is, what it's going to do for you, how it's going to change your life, and what it's going to mean for your business. It's really easy to say that you want to make X amount of money per month, but if you haven't really broken it down, then it's going to be hard to have that real identity for it and have that momentum with it when, let's face it, building a business isn't the easiest thing in the world. And if you don't have the real push or the clarity behind it, then it's really hard to keep going sometimes. But more than that, that number is just about really feeling grounded and responsible in your pursuits so that you're not just doing something for the fun of it. This isn't a hobby. This isn't just a sort of like, let's magically see what's happening. This is your business. This is your life. And that's why these kinds of numbers are so useful to really sit down and identify. So just to recap slightly the questions we went over yesterday, let me read them. And every day this week, we are going over 4 to 5 questions. Very simple. I wanted to get really focused with this challenge and make sure that you guys had very clear takeaways from each day. And so yesterday, we talked about finding clarity around your income goal. And the questions we asked to get you there are, number 1, why do you want to surpass your 9-to-5 salary? And that could have been something like you want to do that so that you can replace your 9-to-5 salary and quit. Maybe you want to have a double income because you're looking for a big savings goal. Maybe you want to invest in your business because you just know it's the bee's knees and you want it to be really big. Maybe you want to pay off your student loans faster. Maybe you just want to live better. All of these are good answers, and likely you have a combination of them. But the answer is important because understanding why you want to do this will inform your priorities when it comes to making it happen. And so that, what I mean by that is touched on in the second question we asked yesterday, which is that based on your why, what is more important to you right now, saving or growing? So if you are looking to build your side hustle to surpass your 9-to-5 job and your main why is that you want to save, then you probably aren't going to be as concerned about growing as you are if you are looking to leave your 9-to-5 job. Because the most secure thing you can do when you're looking to be an entrepreneur is know that you know how to make money well and consistently, and that you're not going to be, wondering every month when the next next paycheck is coming in or where it's coming from. So in those circumstances, growing needs to be your priority. If you're doing this for some other reasons, sometimes saving could be a bit more important than growing, but more often than not, the important thing during this time period, when your big goal is to surpass your 9-to-5 job salary, you need to be focusing on saving. And from those of you that were there live yesterday and those that are in this challenge, for the most part, the thermostat is that you all want to really work toward growing your business, whether that's because you're just ready for it to be making more money than it is, you want to invest back in it, you want to become a full-time entrepreneur, or a mix of all of those. And then from there, you're able to find your monthly income, which will generally be divided into 4 buckets. Your business expenses, your personal expenses, your necessities like rent and healthcare, and what you need to put aside for taxes. And when you consider all of that, you kind of have the ideal number that you have, which will probably be just as much, if not more, than your day job income, because you do have a couple more expenses than you probably do at your day job, including healthcare, as well as taxes and money to put back into your business. However, you have the potential to make so much more, as you know. And then you also identified a date of when you require of yourself to make this happen. Not when it hopefully happens, not when you're going to wish it happens, not when it's life or death before it happens, but when you, as the CEO of your life, are deciding that this is how you're going to live and how your business is going to function. So today, what we're going to go over is how to actually make that income number your reality. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with today's questions as well. And what I'd love you to do is take out your note-taking device and go ahead and put there at the top what your number is from yesterday. So I'll go ahead and do this with you guys. So for me, if you guys remember, and this isn't just numbers I'm making up here, this is literally the exact work I did when I scaled my business to make more than my 9-to-5 last year. It took me about 6 weeks after I did the work that we're going through here together to make that happen. So go ahead and put your number at the top. It's just going to be useful to remember it and to know it while we go through our questions today. And then you can sort of put that on hold for a second as we go through today's question number 1. So the first thing we are going to deal with today is, what do you currently sell and how much do you sell it for? List everything that's current. So if you have a business and you're already selling things, this is a great place for you to list out the things that you're selling and how much they sell for, and not the right time to list out things maybe you could sell or that you've been thinking of selling or that sound like they'd be a good idea. This is just about getting really clear about where you're at right now so we can get honest about the next best steps for you. Now, if you're watching this and you don't sell anything yet, maybe you're just getting started, or maybe this is also sort of forming for you, that's okay. But I'd love for you to just put in here what you've sort of thought of selling and how much you were intending on selling it for, or what you think would be realistic for you at this point. So I'm just going to pause for a second so that everyone has a chance to do that. And I'll go ahead and put where I was. Let me see. This is where can you guys see me or hear me? I'm sorry about that. Thank you guys for letting me know. Hopefully you guys can see me again. I'm back. Thanks, Georgina. All right, sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what happened, but yes, I am back. Alrighty, so I'm not sure exactly where it cut off, but I'm glad you guys can see me again. I feel so bad. Okay. Alrighty, let's just keep moving. So this is where I was at one point. And so on average, roughly speaking, the average price of my offerings was about $150. So now this is a great time for you to average out all the things that you offer or you are considering offering in the near future. Let's not get too far away from where you are at right now. And let me know how that, and list that out, and then also try to figure out what your average could be with the things that you're offering. And now what we want to figure out here is how many of these you need to sell in order to hit your income goal. So for me, if I wanted to hit that income goal that I have above of $6,000 then a month, then I need to be selling about 40 of these offerings that I had. Okay, Georgina, question. Was that your price when you were first starting out or overall? Those were not my prices when I first started out, but they were relatively early on. Yeah, I mean, if you have any specific question about different pricing for different items, then I'm happy to help. But when I started with e-courses, yeah, I ranged them all in about the $100 to $2,000 or $200 range at the time. So I realized that I needed to sell about 40 of these per month in order to hit my income goal. Now let's look at some other examples for the things that you might be offering or the things you might be considering to offer. So maybe you are offering some sort of consulting package or coaching package for $1,500. Or maybe you are offering, maybe you're selling ads on your website because you have a really watched or read blog or something like that, and you're making about $100 a month from there. No matter what it is, you just need to divide it by the ideal income that you need to make every month and figure out the quantity that you need to make per month. So hopefully you have some sort of number here. My example here would be 40 per month. Alrighty, now the next question, we're not going to analyze this quite yet, but I just want you to have that number. So, and the takeaway here is the quantity of sales you need. So now the next question is, how many people do you need on your email list in order to hit that quantity of sales? Typically speaking, you're going to get about 1 to 3% of your email list buying whatever it is that you sell. So for me, if I needed to sell 40 e-courses, then I needed to have 4,000 to 6,000 people on my email list at the time, because that would mean that 4,000 to 8,000. That would mean that about 1 to 3% would actually buy them, and then that is what would make my income goal possible. Now, if you are selling the same thing every single month to the same email list, then that 1 to 3% is probably going to hover closer to the 1 to 2% of the side of it, because people aren't going to feel that urgency so much if you're selling the same thing every single month. I hope that makes sense. So this was a huge eye-opener for me, because it made me realize that 4,000 people on your email list is not that many. I mean, it's definitely not where people start out. So if you're feeling far away from that, then don't worry, you're not alone. But even more than that, it was making me realize that I was going to need to be growing my email list rapidly in order to sustain this every single month if this was all I was selling. So here you should have two numbers. You should have the number of things you need to sell every month to hit your income goal, as well as what your email list needs to be in order to hit that, assuming that you're going to be at that 1 to 3% range. If you guys have any questions, or if you have any answers that you're getting in real time, let me know. Let me take a sip of water really quick. All right. Question number 3. This is a new equation, completely separate. How much would something need to be to sell to your existing list and hit your income goal? So for example, when I was doing this exercise, I had about 1,000 people on my email list. I did not have 4 to 8,000. And so I thought, okay, well, if about 1% of the people are going to buy on my list, let's be modest here, then I need to have a product that's about $600, because that's something that I feel I could comfortably sell 10 of, and then that is something that would get me to my $6,000. So now I realized that I needed to basically figure out a way to not make a new product for $6,000 or for $600, but figure out how to use my existing assets in order to create a product that would be worth the new income price I needed to charge. So this is really important. I don't want you to feel like you need to go back to the drawing board and think of a completely new product or service that's much more expensive or a completely different price or something like that. This is where you can hone in on what you're already making money doing, or a service that you've already been selling, and figure out how to repurpose it or repackage it in a way that financially makes sense for you. So specifically what I did was decided that I was going to basically use the existing assets that I had and just make them a lot better and make them a lot more high touch and make them a lot more personal, so that it was worth $600. So that's question number 4 here. What about your current assets can be turned into something worth the amount of money you need to sell something for? So for example, I had an e-course that was all automated and self-study. I realized that what I could do is take the content from this self-study e-course, add to it, update it, make it even more in-depth than the e-course had been, put a live component to it so that instead of it being 8 weeks of self-study work, 8 modules of self-study work, it could be 8 weeks of live coaching with it. And then each week I could, in this live program, leak out a new module, as well as have a community around it, as well as have calls around it. And that would obviously add a lot of value, because then you're getting individualized attention, you are getting live attention, you are getting a community, as well as one-on-one support, and you are getting support as you go through the modules, instead of just having people expect you to do it completely on your own. So that is something that I knew would be worth at least $600, because I knew that my self-study courses were good and that they worked, but they only really work, of course, if people actually implement them and make them happen for themselves. And if I could help them do that, then it was basically promising people, results. Another example you could do is that if you have a one-on-one program that you charge $1,000 for, but you don't necessarily have, 500 people on your list, and you need to be making $5,000 a month, is think about, think about how you can create some sort of combined way to do it. It could be a little bit like a group program, but basically where you are merging together some people so that they are doing it together and it's saving you time to do it. If you are concerned about the size of your list and you aren't so concerned about time, but you just want to raise your income, then I would make your $1,000 offering more extensive, add more to it, add more time to it, and then raise the price to it. So you just need to get creative about what you already have and how you can repurpose it to be worth the value that you need to charge in order to hit your income goal. All right, I hope that makes sense, everyone. But basically the takeaways that you want to have here is that you need, from this question, is an asset that you can now start thinking about and brainstorming how to create in order to hit your income goal. What that price is going to be and what it needs to be in order for you to make this work, and what the list size needs to be, what your list size needs to be to meet your income goal. Now, I don't want to be confusing here, because I know that we just did a calculation based on your current list size, but you also do need to remember that your list is going to keep growing, and it needs to keep growing in order to have this consistent income. So kind of think of the range that is realistic for you to expect yourself to grow your email list at this point. My clients that are really aggressively growing their email list in their business, I recommend them shooting to grow it by 50 to 75 people per week. But you can be honest with yourself about where you're at right now, what makes sense for you, and what the rate is that you're at right now. And if you aren't growing your email list, then please start today. And you can let me know if you have questions on how to start or something like that, but it is the absolute most important part of this whole thing, this equation, and all the work you're doing to calculate how to leave your 9-to-5 job will not work if your email list is not growing every week, if not every day. So those are what you need to go off here: your income goal, your email list, and the new price that you're going to sell. And between those three numbers, you are basically able to calculate how your business can run and how you can get it to surpass that salary. So those are the 4 questions today. We have another Mad Lib for the day. I hope you guys liked that as much as I did yesterday. But I'd love to know if you guys have any questions about this today and everything that we went over. Oops, let's all right. And as you guys fill this out yourself, I would love if you would put if you're comfortable putting the answers in the comments. And I will fill it out the way I did in my examples. So my offerings currently are priced at an average of $147. That's not quite true, but we're just going to go with that for simplicity's sake. And I would need a list size of at least 4,000 people to sell enough to make my income goal. However, if I edited my offering to be priced at $600 with my list size of 1,000 people, I could hit it. So I've started brainstorming my offering of a live group version of my self-study program at $600 and need to keep my list growing by, for me, I did 50 a week because I wanted to make sure that I constantly have fresh people come in that would be interested in this new program. Alrighty. So I'd love to hear if you guys have your version of your Mad Lib, but this is very numbery, and if you guys feel like this situation isn't so much applicable to you, maybe like, Leah, I don't even have an asset yet, or I'm not sure how I could raise the value of my asset, then let me know in the comments below. That's what I'm here for. I want to support you guys in doing this. So I'm just going to chill for a second, have some water. And just remember, as we went over last time, this is just a period. This is not a forever. This is just to get your income goal to where you need it to be so that you can live that life and invest in your business the way that you need to make your goals happen. And then things get so much simpler. I really want to share transparently with you guys that when I was doing this, when I was in this period, I didn't focus on anything else except getting my email list up the way I needed to, getting my offerings to the price that they needed to in order to hit this, and selling them. I did not focus on all these other creative things. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, but like really getting clear on your to-do list and getting things off of it that aren't part of this. And sometimes it can feel frustrating. Sometimes you're like, oh, I want to do all these other things. You know, I have so many different passions and I want to be more creative. And I completely understand that. You probably did not start this business so that you were just doing these sort of numbers the way that we're going through here. However, it's just a time period. And once you have sustained yourself and proven that you can be making the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month that you need, whatever that number is for you, then you have all the creative freedom that you want. Then you know how to do this. Then you have a functioning business that supports you in your lifestyle, and you aren't playing a guessing game anymore about where money is coming from. Is this going to work? And you basically can try whatever your heart desires, whatever your heart desires, because you know how to make the money that you need in order to survive. So that's why this work is so crucial. And I hope that by showing up here today, you're not thinking like, oh, this doesn't sound as fun. Like, this is just math. I want to be creative. Because this is so fundamental to basically the building blocks and security of your business. And you will be able to be so much more free and creative and have more fun with this if you get this part down. So that's really why I wanted to go in depth with it, because it is such a freeing thing to instill and something that is going to make you be able to be the type of entrepreneur and person, frankly, that you started with, that you wanted to start this to begin with. So that is basically today's lesson. And I don't see that you guys have any questions, which is totally cool. I hope that you guys found this helpful anyway. Okay. Georgina, I'm struggling to actually grow my list. I don't think my opt-ins are eye-catching enough. Okay, great question. So I teach what's called power opt-ins, and I actually teach this a bit in my, but the skill, okay, well, I'll come to you in just one second, Olivia. Okay, so Georgina, when it comes to list building, I teach in my programs, both my programs, Limitless List and Scale Your Side Hustle, about how to create power opt-ins. So in my day, I have probably created, and just let me pause for just to make sure everyone's on the same page. When we talk about opt-ins, opt-ins are basically an incentive of content you give to people for free in exchange for their email address. And it's so, so crucial that you have a list of people's email addresses for you to sell to when you do start creating products and services or selling. To this day, my email list is the driving force behind my business, and it's because I've spent years perfecting the opt-ins that I'm going to talk to you about in just one second, Georgina, to really get the right type of people on it. And I could go on and on about the different statistics behind why selling to an email list will always be more profitable than selling to social media or just on your website, but it's going to be at least 10 times more likely that people will buy from your email list than they will from seeing a post on Facebook or even just on your website. So I cannot, undersell the value of growing your email list. So in my day, I have probably created over 30 opt-ins. And when I was first starting out, I so didn't know what I was doing. And I would create a new opt-in for every single blog post because I thought that people would get sick of opt-ins. And that's completely not what you need to do. In fact, the way I kind of teach it is that you should spend about a week making a really, really great opt-in. And it is time consuming and it is frustrating because you want to do other things. But then once you have that opt-in ironed out, all you need to do is promote it. And honestly, you don't need to make another one for like 6 months to a year. That's kind of how often I make them at this point. And so when you have a power opt-in, it's going to hit a couple different points. Let me see if I can bring up a quick slide on this. But you really want to make sure that you are attracting your ideal, subscriber, which would be your ideal client, basically, or purchaser. So I'd love to hear, Georgina, what you're offering right now, as well as where you are putting them around and where you are letting people know that you have them, because it does definitely take pushing it out. And like I said, once you created it, I mean, every week or every day, you should be letting people know that you have that opt-in. At least once a week on social media. I would recommend running Facebook ads to it. I would also recommend leveraging Pinterest to make sure that people are running to it. Make sure it's SEO optimized. I mean, I could go on and on, but just let me know what you're doing right now, and then we can talk about if there's any other ideas to make it work. And let me see if I can pull up a slide I have on your power opt-ins. Module 2. Alrighty, so here is what goes into the content of a power opt-in. And power opt-in is something that's going to both attract your ideal client and customer and build your email list by about 50 to 75 people per week. So it's very powerful. Here's what you want in the content. Number one, I would ask yourself, is this opt-in a transformation or is it just information? If it's just information, that's not going to work so well because people are already so flooded with information. So I definitely say, try to avoid things like a free ebook or even just something that's kind of like a blog post or something like that. See how you can really make their lives easier and allow them to transform a part of their life. Now, don't put so much pressure on yourself where you feel like it needs to be something incredibly original. It just needs to make their life a bit easier. So something that works really well here is a free 7-day e-course or something like that, so that you can really give them a clear definition of what's different before and after those 7 days. Also, things that work well are checklists, case studies work well, and then of course live trainings like a webinar every week or every couple days works really well. But it will vary with you. All right, I'm reading your comments, Georgina. Right now, I've been playing with offering freebies about the benefits of having social media manager, tips on optimizing social media websites, etc. Basically trying to show why my services are going to be beneficial to the client. Okay, so those are good emails to send as well as good things to have on your website. But when you are giving someone a piece of free content and you want it to be valuable for them, it needs to be valuable for them, not just for you. So really focusing on what you could give them that will improve their life right when they download it. You know what I mean? So something like, 5 days to a more optimized social media presence. So like, them clearing out their social media platforms, their Instagram and their Facebook, so that it's really optimized or something like that. Another thing could be like 5 days to a website audit or something, because so many people don't pay attention to their websites for even months or years or something like that. So it should be something they can do without you, but still just you showing them that you know how to get them from point A to point B helps assert your authority and helps put you as an expert in this field. And then by the end of it, that's when you're able to tell them that you have services that you can offer them and that you can help them if they want to go even further with the things you've already taught them. So it should be a mix of action and education, not just telling, but also transforming. And then throughout it, I would also make sure that you're talking a bit about you so that it isn't just an anonymous sort of piece of information, but talk about why you know this, who else you've done this for. Maybe you have some testimonials, maybe you have your own story you can share from. Whatever way you can really personify yourself that's going to stick with people, because people get so much information every day. And so the more you can really weave in your story, the more that they are going to remember you and the more they are going to relate to you, which is very important in branding, of course. So I hope that helps a bit thinking about your opt-in, Georgina, but I'm really proud of you for trying to grow your list. That is the most important thing. So just be proud of yourself for doing that. And you are doing everything right. Okay, and just let me know, where are you offering them and how are you promoting them? That's something I might be able to help you with. But great question. All right, Olivia. My idea is to sell ebooks and speed dating spots. Terrific. But the scale is not possible for my current market. I need help on a more realistic market product. People here in Utah are cheap. Okay, so if you have a website, then I don't think you need to, keep any of this within the confines of Utah. I know you live there, but I think one of the biggest benefits of having a website is that you do have this access to so much of the country and the whole world. So I wouldn't limit it to that location. And then, I don't live in Utah, but I would really try to reframe how you think people might be with money, because sometimes, like, one of the things I see the most often when my clients want to raise their prices and they think that no one will pay for a higher price, and it's really because they wouldn't pay for a higher price, and it's actually not necessarily true that no one would. So I really try to, it's something I had to learn myself, like, keep my own ideas about money and how much people could pay outside of how much I thought I was worth, because the truth is there's millions of people that would probably be interested in the amazing advice that you have about dating and your services, and there is bound to be, the 6 of them that would pay whatever price you want, or however many you need based on the equation we went over today. So I would really try to flip the switch on who you think can afford it, and if they'll be interested in buying it, because you totally have so much value to offer. And I think that if you can really stay strong in that, then the people that are going to benefit from you are going to be attracted to you, and they are going to buy from you. So they are out there. They are totally out there. All right. And then I guess I'm just a bit confused, but the scale is not plausible for my current market. Do you mean your current market in Utah? Your idea is to sell ebooks. That's great. That's a super scalable piece of content, because of course it's digital. And I would also push you to consider selling an e-course instead, because usually that's a bit more actionable than just a book. Again, it's kind of the similar advice with the opt-in I just talked about. The more action you can give them in addition to information. So like, I feel like with ebooks, it's usually heavy on the information side and not enough on the action. And maybe an e-course would be more of a happy medium there. The more you can charge them and the better results they're going to get, which the better testimonials you're going to get, and the more it's going to help your business grow. So yeah, I would just see if you could think of a way to make that into some sort of course, or maybe even a program or something like that that people could do in real time, so that you can help them even more and raise your price a bit. Alrighty, great questions, you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope that that's been helpful. And if you guys have any questions, we covered a lot today. Brilliant. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for opening up and sharing this with us. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope that this was helpful to you. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about your to-do list and your to-don't list, and it's going to be both about what's like physically on your to-do list when you're thinking about your business and your side hustle and things like that, as well as sort of the mental part of this and the mindset. I know a lot of us have really big goals and dreams, and it's often worth stepping back and asking ourselves, why hasn't this happened yet? And more often than not, that's usually because some sort of mental block, whether that's that you have too much going on, or you don't think that you're worth charging what you know you want to, or you're not sure if you can do it, or anything like that. So we're going to be, really making sure that you're only focusing on things that are going to help you, both on your to-do list and in your mind, as well as getting rid of the things that are only going to hurt you. Trust me, I have stood in my own way more than any other circumstance or person ever has. So I really want to support you in getting out of your own way so that we can make the things that you guys are working really hard during this series to identify happen for yourself, because you totally deserve it. So we'll be here at 1 tomorrow. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime or any feedback, then just let me know. But other than that, I look forward to it, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.